Energetically reach your arms forward. Spread your palms really wide. Create a lift of your forearms up off the ground. So if you're just entering the practice and you want music, there's a playlist in Spotify labeled by the date 4/7. Anchor your palms, spread them really wide. Get the lift of the forearms up off the ground. As you're creating your arms, you're setting them up for a down dog. Drop your seat back a little bit more. And then you'll start your Ujjayi breath. Inhalation is through the nose. Exhalation is also through the nose. Feel the air slip through the back of the throat. At any point during the practice you need this, it's here for you. Press up onto all fours. So we're starting with a little core work today. The core work, if you need to modify, with the knees will just drop to the floor. The whole flow can be taken that way. So you're gonna find your way back into a downward facing dog to start. So we're gonna move from here. Spread your palms really wide. Lift your hips up nice and high. Let your head go. And you can bend behind your knees as much as you need so you can begin to feel like you have a little more lift. Lift your hips up off your shoulders. Press down into the padded part of your hand. And then pick a drishti point, something to focus on. Firm up the sides of the arms. Anchor and press down a little bit more. Feel the sides of your body really engage, your belly draw in. And don't make this too complicated. Roll forward to plank position. Stack your body. So your drishti, I recommend bringing it a little forward. Your drishti is your focus, just to that tad forward to the front of your mat. Press into your hands. Your index fingers should be forward. The creases of the wrist should be forward. Your weight rocks all the way forward onto your tippy toes. And once again, your knees can drop at any given point here if you feel like you need to just take more support. Hold your plank. And lengthen from your tailbone to the crown of the head. And then from your tailbone back to your heels, it's in opposition. You're being pulled apart. Engage the belly to the back of the spine, scissor into the center line of the body. You're still in plank. Hold. Drop your knees if it's too much. Downward facing dog, hips press back. So now the length of your dog to plank should be set up nicely. Roll forward plank position. Fix your eyes on something a little forward. Good. So the movement's really slow. You're going to walk your hands out a little further. My fingers went all the way to the edges of my mat. So it almost feels like your shoulders, your palms are forward over your, like in front of your shoulders. That's what I'm trying to say. So it's a little bit of a longer position. Hold that. So your hands are a little more forward. Your arms are still gripping in. Your belly's still drawing in, and you really feel this in your core. Without too much movement, start to walk your hands right back underneath your shoulders. From here, hug your right knee in towards your navel and pause. This can be done with the back knee down if it's too much. Keep looking forward, grip into the mat. Slide the right foot back to a plank. Hug your left knee in, draw it in. Keep the breath flowing. Slide it back to plank, pause in plank. Walk your hands back out. Yeah, walk them out. Just like 2 or 3 inches more forward, you begin to feel your abdominal wall engaging. Knees can drop if it's too much. Walk the hands back underneath the shoulders. Stay with me, guys. Hug the right knee in. Slide it back to a plank. Hug the left knee in. It's almost like a mountain climber. It's really slow. Left leg back, plank position. One more time, walk your hands out. Walk them out so they're a little bit more forward. Draw your belly in. Knees can drop if it's too much. Draw in. Drop your right. Bring your right hand underneath your shoulder, your left hand underneath your shoulder. Regular plank. One more time, right knee in. Right leg back plank. Left knee in. Left leg back plank. Drop your knees. Pause. You're in just a brief tabletop. Should feel something. Bend your elbows in half to a supported chaturanga. Re-straighten your arms to a supported plank. Bring your drishti a little more forward. Again, bend your elbows in half, supported chaturanga. Re-straighten your arms to a supported plank. One more time, bend your elbows in half, supported chaturanga. Your gaze is forward. Your elbows wrap in. Straighten your arms to a supported plank. Downward facing dog, hips press back. Look in between your hands, step your right foot all the way forward, come to your fingertips. Drop your back knee down, pause. So a lot of you don't have blocks, I'm aware of that. So this whole next few poses can be done without blocks, you're not missing out. But if you do have a block, the block is gonna go the long direction at the top of the mat. The right foot's gonna go on the block. So I'm doing it here. If you don't have a block, don't feel sad for yourself, it's okay. Slide the left thigh back. So either way you're doing this, block or no block, there's an angle to your back leg. This is a psoas release. The fingertips are on the ground. If you can't reach the floor and you need to bring yourself up, support. Just hold a few breaths right here. Inhale the breath. Feel like you're pulling your chest through your body, like a little up dog in your upper chest. Exhale the breath, stay here. Feel your right foot press into the floor or the block, wherever you're at with this. Couple more breaths in. Most of us need this more than anything, just to breathe into the psoas. That's our walking muscle. Another big breath in. Come to your fingertips if you're already not there. Your right foot stays down. Back leg's gonna lift. You're just in a low lunge. Pause. You're in a low lunge. Yep. Keep your right foot where it is on the block or not. It's up to you how you want to do this. Take your back foot into a warrior 2 foot. Now my block lines up with the arch of my back foot. Get your feet gripped and then cartwheel open to a warrior 2. We're doing this early for a reason. Warrior 2 can be done regular or a block to amp it up if you have it. So the elevation of the block is going to get you into the hip a little more. Arms are energetically going to reach across your body. And I'm going to look right at you and smile. You can close your eyes. You're on mute, so if you need to yell something out at me, I don't hear you. Broaden across your arms and chest, and if this is simply just too much, your arms can just be down, doesn't matter. Reach, feel your feet on the floor, close your eyes, breathe into the sensation, turn up the inner part of your right thigh to the outside of the right baby toe. Drop the tailbone down. Let the side of the body lift you up. Another big breath in. Stay with me. Anchor your left leg just as much as your front right foot. Begin to straighten your right leg on track. Now you may need to scoot your left foot in a little. Begin to tip. Right hand's gonna rest in the upper part of the shin. Don't worry about going too deep. If you don't have the block, just take a regular triangle. Don't go so deep into it. Hand on your shin. Left arm can extend straight up. If the shoulder's compromised, hand can just stay on your hip. Feel your inner and outer thighs working nicely together. Big breath in. Stay with it. 2 more. Feel the side of your body lift you. Look to the ground. Circle both hands to the floor. So if you're on a block, you're going to begin to drop your back knee, step your foot down off the block, move it to the front, roll forward to plank. Roll, bend your elbows in half to a chaturanga. Pull your chest through for an upward facing dog. Point your toes. Take a downward facing dog, hips press back. Land your left foot forward into a low lunge, drop your back knee. Once again, if you're utilizing the block, that's great. If you don't have it, it's okay. Take your whole foot on the block and just be here. Honestly, if you did nothing else but this stretch today, this is like amazing. Make sure that your knee tracks over your ankle, your whole foot is on the ground or on that block. And then prop yourself up onto your fingertips and feel like you're pulling your chest through your body like a little up dog. My back right thigh is on an angle, so you're really getting in there. You should breathe. And it's hard in the beginning because it's slow and it's deliberate. Well, the whole practice is deliberate. Just be patient. A couple more. Good. Prop yourself up onto your fingertips if you're already not there. Contract the back leg. Now you're just in this low lunge. Scissor the outer thighs in. Hug in. Keep looking forward, drawing your navel to the back of the spine. There should be a lot of contraction of the core here. Keep your left foot where it is, block or no block. Turn your back foot onto its side. Turn the angle of the foot forward a little. Circle open, warrior 2. Set yourself up. Take a second. Make sure the stance is long enough. Reach across your body with your arms. Drop down into the pose. Side of the body is nice and lifted so the torso isn't turning towards the front thigh. You're stacked in between the 2 hips. Turn up the inner part of your left thigh to the outside of the baby toe. Feel the heel, feel the right leg. The right leg is doing a lot of good work. And then just close your eyes here. And the first few breaths are meant to just help you arrive. And then the few breaths that follow after that help you to kind of break down into the pose. Sit down a little deeper. Stay with me. Really feel the legs working strong, the arms working strong. Begin to straighten the left leg on track. Scoot your right foot in a little closer if it's too long of a stance. Tip the torso, hand on shin, triangle pose, right arm reaches up. Side of the body stays nice and lifted, the belly draws in. Your gaze can go up. If your neck is stiff, you can just look straight. And then see where you can create some lightness in your body. Feel your feet press into the floor. Pay attention that you're not leaning back into your lower back. Feel the arches of your feet. Feel the outer blade of your foot press down a little more. Look to the ground, circle both hands. If your foot's on the block, you got to drop your knee, scooch the block forward, plant the palms, step to a plank. Bend your elbows in half, chaturanga. Pull yourself through an up dog, point your toes. Take a downward facing dog, hips press back. Walk your feet to the top of the mat. Come to the fingertips, long spine. Forward fold over the legs. Root to rise, come all the way up. Bring your hands to prayer at heart center. Drop your arms. These are amended sun A's, so we're just going to stay at the top of the mat for a few movements. Stretch your arms straight up. Anchor your feet. Bend your knees and fold. Come to the fingertips, long spine. If your hands aren't making it to the floor, just bring them to your shins. Keep the weight forward. Fold over yourself. Root to rise, come all the way up, anchor. You can look up a little. Drag the hands to prayer. Drop your arms. So movement and breath link together. Stretch up with your arms. You can look up. Dive over bent knees, forward fold. Come to the fingertips or hand slide to shins, long spine. Fold again in half. Root to rise, come all the way up. More energy, more feeling. Hands drag to prayer. Reach your arms up. Aren't we having fun? Stretch big. Dive in half over bent knees. Come to the fingertips, long spine. This time plant your palms. 2 big steps, get to the back of the mat. Plank position. Bend your elbows, chaturanga. Pull yourself through an up dog, point your toes. Take a downward facing dog, hips press back. Step your right foot forward, turn your back foot onto its side, warrior 1. Back thigh bone goes forward, right thigh sits nicely, so you've got a 90-degree angle. Arms reach up. There should be some movement in your left ribs that you can turn them so you're stacking your ribs. Reach up with your arms. And take a second to work it out. Feel the outer blade of your back foot as it activates and presses down into the mat the best that you can. If this isn't working out for you today, crescent lunge is a great alternative. Hands to the floor, plank position. Bend your elbows to a chaturanga or drop your knees and support the posture. Upward facing dog, if you're taking it, enjoy it. Downward facing dog, hips lift back. Left foot steps, back foot onto its side. Rise up, warrior 1 on the left side, or crescent lunge if that's what you prefer. Right thigh wraps forward enough that the ribs can turn with you. The arms energetically reach up, your gaze can go up. Into the front thigh, feel the heel, feel the back leg and the strength of it. Bring your hands down to the floor plank. Do what you need here. Chaturanga is optional at this point. Upward facing, point your toes. Downward facing, back. Take a deep breath in. Take a deep breath out. A few breaths, just stay there. Inhale. And exhale. Look to the top of the mat. Step or float your feet to the top. Long spine on the inhale breath. Exhale, fold. Find a chair pose at the top of your mat. Sit deep, weights in your heels. Now, chair pose can be taken with the feet hips width distance, totally fine. Good. Stick your tush back, lift your waist up, energetically reach your arms up. And then your shins, they want to move back. The weight then really transfers to the heels. Press all the way up to stand. Drag your hands to prayer. Drop your arms, look forward. Restart from the top of the mat. Stretch your arms up first, then sit chair. Dive over bent knees, forward fold. Come to the fingertips, long spine, plant your palms. 2 big steps get you to the back. Plank position. Bend your elbows to a chaturanga. Pull yourself through an up dog, point your toes. Take a downward facing dog, hips press back. Right foot steps, back foot onto its side, warrior 1. So feel your feet glued into the floor, then bring yourself up. Everyone looks really good. Hands to the floor, plank position. Bend your elbows, chaturanga. Upward facing, downward facing. Left foot forward, back foot onto its side. So just a nice, easy pace. Reach up with your arms. Hands come down to a plank. You decide what you need here. If chaturangas are too much, you just skip it. Up dog, downward facing dog. Pause in your down dog. Let your body respond to that. Look where you want to go. Step or float your feet to the top. Long spine, weight is forward. Fold in half. Sit again into chair pose. And know the modification, feet can be hips width distance apart. Weight is in the heels, shins shift back, waist lifts up, gaze goes forward. Press up to stand, draw your hands to prayer. Drop your arms, leave it behind. Stretch your arms straight up towards the sky. Sit again into a chair pose. Dive in half over bent knees. Long spine, come to your fingertips. Plant your palms. Work yourself back to plank. If you choose to hop, you're hopping right to a chaturanga. Upward facing dog pulls you through. Downward facing dog presses you back. Right foot forward, back foot onto its side. So you're building a little momentum. Warrior 1. I'll wait for you all to come up. Then we bring it down to the floor, plank. Halfway down, chaturanga. Upward facing. Downward facing. Keep moving. Left foot forward, back foot onto its side. Warrior 1. Hands come down, plank. Bend your elbows, chaturanga or skip. Up dog. Downward facing dog. Be still. Breath in. Breath out. Look where you want to go. Float or step your feet to the top. Long spine on the inhale breath. Keep the weight forward, everyone. Fold over your legs. Sit again into chair pose. See if you can sit a little deeper this time. Shoot up to stand. Drag your hands to prayer. Reach your arms straight up. You can look up a little. Drop down, chair pose. Dive over bent knees, forward fold. Come to the fingertips, long spine. You can step, you can float, chaturanga. Upward facing, drags you through. Downward facing presses you back. Right foot forward, back foot onto its side, warrior 1. There we go. Hands come down, plank position. Chaturanga Dandasana. Upward facing. Downward facing, left foot forward, back foot onto its side, warrior 1. Come on up. Hands come down, plank position. Chaturanga Dandasana, upward facing point, downward facing back. So now here we are in our downward facing dog. Bring your feet together to touch. Bring feet together to touch and down dog. Good. Roll forward to plank. Lean onto your left hand. If you want to do a little more today, you're going to reach for a block. I'm going to take this cork block. I'm going to roll into side plank with my block straight up towards the sky. If you don't have a block, you can use a pillow. Flex your toes, lift your waist. Drop your bottom knee if you want to take this modified. Engage your core, spark up your toes. Press into the mat to lift higher. Look down, remove the block, put it out in front of you, right hand down, plank position. Hug your right knee to your navel. Land the right foot smack in between. Turn your back foot onto its side. Take that block, place it to the outside of your foot or arm to the thigh, modified extended side angle. Good, so just resting your arm on your thigh is a great alternative to opening the hip. Outside a foot, I use a block. Place it any direction that works for you. Practice gripping your right hip under you and then twisting your ribs. Sit down into the pose a little more. Good. Twist the belly, twist the ribs. And just be calm. Keep feeling your feet on the floor. Couple more breaths, stay with me. Left arm can just be straight up towards the sky too. So this is about the time where you want to run from the pose. Stay for 2 more breaths. So if your arm reached forward, just reach it straight up. Bring your hand to your hip. Stay close to the floor. If you've got a block, that's great. If you don't, you're going to make do. Bring the block out in front of you, float up into a half moon. Right hand is on the block. I like to go to a tented hand. Left hand on hip, spark up your left toes. If your balance is really shoddy today, just take an amended warrior 3. You'll square your hips off and just keep both fingertips down onto blocks or the floor. Spark up the toes, grow the pose how you wish. Maybe stretch your left arm up. Make sure your right foot stays really grounded and forward, the contraction of your thigh bone. And think about almost creating a lot of length through your side body here. And if you fall, you get back in. If you added anything into this, such as Chopasana or a balancing pose, revisit regular half moon. Now the transition is slow. Look down first, bring your left hand to the floor, square your hips, step your feet together. Now sit, chair pose, weights in your heels. Sit really deep, drag your hands to prayer. Inhale that breath, hook the elbow and twist. Hooking in the elbow and twisting only where there's a rib. Palms go together. Drop your seat nice and low. And be mindful that your left side of your body doesn't swing all the way forward with you. So I'd rather you go less into the pose and be better aligned. Open your arms if you're moving on, or stay right here. Keep shifting the weight into your heels, shin bones back. Now keep a strong bend in your legs. Don't straighten your legs. Pull back around chair. You got it. Chair pose. Look forward. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Come to the fingertips, long spine, plant your palms. You can step or float, Chaturanga. Upward facing. Downward facing. Feet come together at the back of the mat. So if you know you're going to use that block, just move it. If you don't have it, don't worry about it. Feet come together, roll forward to plank. I'm going to take my block in my left hand and stretch up. You can also use a pillow because it's just about creating that space, that length. Bottom right knee can drop down. You can take this modified too. This is a great way to modify the pose with the knee down. Spark up your toes. Lift up out of your waist. Looking good. Look down, block comes to the floor out in front of you, plank position, pause. Hug your left knee in, draw it in tight and close. Land the left foot forward, turn your right foot onto its side. If you're gonna use a block, place it there. Extended side angle A. Arm can also just rest on your thigh for the modified version. Right arm can reach up. Grip your left glute behind you. Twist your ribs. Feel the strength of your right leg just as much as the deep bend in your left thigh. So it's got to be a little bit on an angle so you can really find the hip opener. If your arm's reaching forward, that's great. From your elbow to your fingertip, straighten your arm. And then look up. Keep hooking your left glute underneath you. Stay with it, twist open. Few more breaths. Feel your left foot, feel your right foot. Scissor the inner and outer thighs together. Reach your right arm up if you moved it forward. Look down, bring your right hand to your hip, move your block forward with you. Stay close to the floor, left foot stays grounded and forward. Float half moon, right leg lifts up. Right arm can extend, and whatever it is that you're working on in this pose. Once again, an amended warrior 3, which is basically squared hips. And your hands could be down onto blocks just like this. This is a great alternative. I'm doing the option that if half moon isn't working for you today, you can do this. If not, you're working on the balance, driving the left foot and the left thigh bone forward, and working on really sparking up your right toes. Couple more, stay with me. If you added anything in, just meet us back in half moon, regular variation of half moon. So the transition is really important that you move slow. Start by looking down first, then bring your right hand, then let your right hip square off, step your feet together. Come to the fingertips, long spine, fold over your legs, then sit chair pose once again. Weights in your heels, stretch your arms up, drag your hands to prayer, really lower your seat, hook the elbow and twist. And just be mindful that the right side of your body isn't kind of taking a turn with you. Keep driving the heels evenly into the floor as evenly as you can. Shin bones drag back. The waist is long and your gaze, if you can go up. If you want to open up your arms, you're welcome to. If not, stay right here. Work a little deeper. Good, keep the shape of your legs, pull around to center, chair pose, look forward. Everyone's feeling something here. Drop down a little deeper. The burn in your thighs is good. Shoot up to stand, draw your hands to prayer. I'll turn towards you so you can see what's happening, but just stay at the top of your mat. Left foot is gonna stay grounded, right leg's just gonna bend up to a 90-degree angle. Yeah, just do a 90-degree angle, flex your foot. So just playing with balance here, flex the foot. Good. Clasp your hands behind your back, interlacing the fingers. Flex the foot. Good. If any of you want to try straightening out your leg, go for it. Lift from the thigh bone. Now, keeping your hands clasped if you can, start to float the leg back. I've got the flyer fireplace behind me, but you're going to float the leg back into warrior 3. So very, very slow movement. Nancy, you can use blocks. I'll turn myself again. Warrior 3, just kind of like a pendulum, moving really, really slow. Hands stay bound. Drishti stays forward, just tipping your body. Flex your right foot and turn the right thigh bone down. Keep the clasped hands without the right foot touching the ground. Start to come up to stand. Slide the right foot forward, lift it up, bend the right knee in half, reach your arms up. So you're back where you started. Good. Bend into your left leg, wrap your right thigh around for eagle legs, and then see if you can wrap your right arm around your left arm for eagle arms. And if the eagle arms don't work for you, your hands can be in prayer. You can also grab opposite shoulders. Bend into your left thigh. Feel the weight in your heel. Squeeze down the center line of your body. Lift your chest up. Sit a little deeper. Unravel your arms and legs. Reach your arms up. Drag your hands to prayer. Drop your arms, leave it behind. Stand on your right leg. Lift your left leg up, flex the foot. Just start really basic and know that you can always just hang here and work on the strength of your balance. This is cool. Interlace the hands behind your back, pause. Flex the foot. Now, if you want to try straightening out your left leg and really using your hip flexor, go for it. Lift from the thigh bone, lift from the lower belly, flex the foot. Keep the hands clasped if you can. Begin to float the leg back. The leg can be straight or it can be bent. Some variation of warrior 3. Make sure your whole body is an opening. Your hips are facing towards the ground. Your left thigh drops down towards the ground too, so it's neutral. Flex the foot, lift the chest, keep your gaze forward. Press into the mat. Now, if your leg is straight, see if you can keep it straight. As you begin to stand up, don't let the foot touch the floor. Just let it slide past the floor. Lift it up. Use your core strength. Bend your left leg. Reach your arms back up. We're back where we started. You're doing great. Bend into your right thigh. Wrap your left leg around your right, and then wrap your left arm underneath your right arm. And if you get floppy and you fall, it's okay. Squeeze in. Dig your right heel into the mat. And sit like you're sitting in one of those chair poses. Stay with me. Sit a little deeper. Look forward. Unravel your arms, unravel your legs. Reach up. Dive in half over bent knees. Come to the fingertips, long spine. Plant your palms. Couple big steps to get you back. Plank. Bend your elbows, chaturanga. Pull your chest through up dog. Take a downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, drop your back knee, bring your arms up, supported lunge. Yeah, curl your back toes into the mat, because if you want to move on, this is a good place to be right here. Drag the hands to prayer. Inhale your breath, create the lift of your torso. Exhale the breath, hook the elbow and twist. And I like doing it with the knee down because it gives you a little bit of foundation. And then if you feel like you want to move on, the thigh lifts, the kneecap lifts, and your glute contracts, and you begin to twist. If you don't, you just keep that leg down for the extra support. Scissor the legs in, twist open. If you want to open up your arms in this pose, you can. Your top arm can even reach up and forward. Your right hip wants to jut out, so grip it underneath you, contract your left thigh and glute, and then twist a little deeper. Couple more breaths. Think about leaning back a little bit so the crown of the head is in line with your back left foot. Look down, place both hands to the floor, straighten the front leg and scoot your back foot in so there's about 3 feet between your 2 feet. Parsvottanasana, come to the fingertips, long spine, fold over your right leg. If you want a little bit more intensity today, you can reach back with clasped hands and grab behind the left thigh, the fleshy part of the thigh. Steer the right hip up, let the head drop. Feel your feet press into the mat. And if your hands just need to be down because you just have better balance, do that. If you grab behind your thigh, release your fingertips to the mat. Come to the fingertips, long spine. Take your hands to your hips, steer your hips back, pull yourself up to stand. Don't move your legs. You still have 3 feet between your 2 feet. Right hand stays on hip, left arm reaches long. So I've been teaching it this way because a lot of people don't have blocks at home. So you're going to reach forward with your left arm, steer the hips back towards the back wall behind you. Place your hand to your shin and feel like you're pressing your shin into your hand. Right hand comes to the flat part of your back. If you do have a block, the block's going to go to the instep of the foot, directly underneath the shoulder. So either way works today. Hand on shin, really feel the activation. Steer the hips towards the back wall. And then if you're ready to move on, your right arm will extend up. Now, if you're having difficulty balancing, you probably need a wider step in width, not in length. So scoot your right foot over to the right a little. From your tailbone to the crown of your head, you're creating a lot of space. Steer the hips back, twist open. Feel your feet press into the mat. Stay with the feeling. Look down, take both hands to the floor. Step back right now, just downward facing dog. Just come to a downward facing dog. Let your head go. Now it's optional. Roll forward plank, bend your elbows, chaturanga. Pull yourself through an up dog. If you're going to take the up dog, enjoy it. Take a downward facing dog, hips press back. Step your left foot forward, drop your back knee. Slide the kneecap back a little, keep the toes curled, and then come up to a supported lunge. Make sure your left knee is tracking over your ankle. Good. Stay with the toes curled, so if you want to move on, it's an option. Hands come to prayer. Inhale the breath, hook the elbow and twist. And remember, if you feel like all your weight is dumping down, lift up a little bit. Yeah. Another great alternative is just to place the hand to the instep of the foot and take a supported twist. like this. Good. Good. If you want to engage your back leg, contract the thigh bone, lift it up, squeeze in. Crown of the head is forward, and you want to lean back just a tiny bit. Outer thighs working a lot. Looks really good. More breath into what you're feeling here. Stay for a few more. Feel the left heel. Feel the sensation of your back leg. Now contract that glute and that hamstring. Twist open a little deeper. Look down. Take both hands to the floor. Scoot your back foot in. Make sure your feet are about hips width distance. Fold over your front leg. You want more. Remember, your back foot's at like a warrior 1 foot. Clasp your hands behind your right thigh. And this is totally out of the question. Don't worry about it. Just keep your hands down. Steer the left hip up and back. Let the head go. Press into the mat more. Let your head go. If you clasp behind your thigh, just release the fingertips to the ground. Come to the fingertips, long spine, hands to your hips. Come halfway up, steer your hips back, come the rest of the way up. We're almost done. Left hand on hip, right arm reaches up. Go big with your right arm. Come forward, long spine, steer the hips back, and then you can just place your hand on your shin and then your left hand on your flat part of your lower back. If you do have a block, it goes to the instep and directly underneath the shoulder. It's up to you. Inhale the breath, steer the hips back. Exhale, lengthen, and then twist. Stack the 2 shoulders. Grip the feet into the mat. And the twist is only happening from your ribs. Couple more. Good. Look down. Take both hands to the floor. Step your right foot to meet your left foot at the top of the mat. Come to the fingertips, fold over the legs. So I'm going to take you into a crow setup. So you're going to come down and sit on your heels. Now, if crow is like really just nothing that you want to do, separate your feet wide and come into a really wide squat. Okay? Yes. If you do want to work on crow, bring the arches of your feet together. It's always nice. You could stand on a block, go in the long direction. This is another alternative. And your knees are going to go high into your upper arms. Bend your elbows a little. I stayed here for a really long time and really just felt the lift of my lower belly and how I could press into the mat. You could work on lifting one foot and then the other foot. The second that your feet split apart, the pose is kind of over. So hug in, look forward, and then see if you can float up. Crow pose. Press into the mat, look forward more. Step or hop, chaturanga. If you have a block nearby, maybe just step back. Meet in a chaturanga, upward facing clears you through. Downward facing presses you back. Slide your right knee forward. Let's take a half pigeon right here. It's gonna feel good. Half pigeon. Yes. Half pigeon. If you've got knee or hip or ankle issues, go onto your back, take ankle to knee. If not, just let yourself fall into the pose. You can create a little pillow for your head. Let your left thigh drop down. Stay with me. Just allow yourself to be here in this pose. Downward facing dog. Slide your left leg forward, half pigeon. Remember, when your knee comes forward, you're aiming it to the back side of your wrist. and then enough space that you're not sitting on your calf. Okay, yeah. Something doesn't feel right, go onto your back. Make sure the top of your right thigh and the top of your right foot is down. So if you're rolling all your weight, I call this dying pigeon. Yeah, we know dying pigeons today. Stretch your arms forward. Let the forehead come. You prepared a little pillow for yourself. If there's a lot of space from your hip to the floor, you can always slide something underneath, a block or a pillow. Breathe into what you're feeling. Couple more breaths. Enjoy it. We're gonna get out a little different. We're gonna come up nice and slow. Bring your forearms down to the ground, okay? So do this, bring your forearms. If you're on your back, just see if you can join us. Curl your right toes into the mat so your right leg makes a really strong line of energy. Press into the mat. Now hug your left knee, and we've done a lot of subtle core work, or maybe not so subtle. Slide your left leg back. You're now in a forearm plank. You're now in a forearm plank. Stay here, or if you want to go upside down, I know some of you love a nice inversion. This is the time in the practice to experiment with that. So upside down, pinch, staying here, or you can start to walk your feet in. This is considered an inversion too. Make sure your elbows don't wrap out. They stay behind your wrists. Bend behind your knees as much as you need. Let your head go. If you're going upside down, flex your feet, draw your lower belly in. Press into the mat, everybody. Drop to your knees. Sit up tall. Just sit up and feel. Good. From here, slide your legs out. Lower yourself down onto your backs. Take your block with you if you know you need that. We'll set up for bridge pose, a full wheel. Let's take one set of bridge together. So as you lower down onto your backs, fingertips skim the backs of your heels. Lift your tailbone up. Good. Slide a block underneath your lower back, or you can clasp your hands. Anchor your feet into the floor and watch that your legs aren't winging out. Wrap the thighs under you, press the feet down, and from your tailbone to the backs of your knees, lift up. Exhale the breath, lower down. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. You can stay with this bridge, supported bridge, or full wheel. Flip the palms if you're moving to full wheel. Bring the chin to the chest. Take a giant breath in. The goal is to keep the feet as straightforward as we can. Inhale the breath. Exhale, press yourself up. From the tailbone to the backs of the knees, we lift. Anchor the hands. Steer the thighs down. Press away from the floor. Tuck the chin. Exhale the breath. Lower yourself down nice and slow. Big breath in. Big breath out. One more because we can. Flip the palms or repeat bridge or supported bridge. Big breath in, lift yourself up. This is where you just have to get out of your own way. Whatever you're doing is fine. Press down. Eventually you'll straighten your arms and your legs. You'll come up to a standing position. Can you imagine that? Press down, lift higher. Exhale the breath, lower down. Take a big breath in. Take a big breath out. Squeeze your knees in towards your chest. Give them a subtle squeeze. And then grab the outsides of your feet. Pull your knees down around your rib cage. This is called happy baby. And then draw your knees in. If you do have the block, place the long direction, or you can even just grab a pillow. in between your thighs. Keep your legs bent like this. The block is going the long direction. Lift the hips up a little to the left, and then drop your knees a little to the right for a supine twist. Take your right hand on the top of your left thigh, cactus your left arm. The block just kind of helps you, or the pillow in between your thighs just kind of helps you keep everything aligned. Come up to center, keep the block, shift your hips a little to the right, drop your knees a little to the left, and then your right arm goes to the right and cactuses. You want to feel your right shoulder blade pressing down. You can use your left hand to encourage the right thigh to the floor. And then come up to center. And I just want to do one more thing before we go into Shavasana. So a lot of us are doing a lot of walking and biking and hiking. If you have a block, slide it underneath your lower back like you're going into bridge. Actually, the skinny one's kind of crummy. If you have a fatter one, it's even better. Lift your tailbone up, slide it underneath. If you don't have the block, you're going to do this without the block. Both legs are going to go up. So it's supported shoulder stand, flex the feet. If you're near a wall, you can take your legs up the wall. Feel like you can tuck your shoulders a little underneath you. Your palms go flat. Contract the thighs, flex the feet. We're going to stay here for a few. If there's no block, your tailbone is just down on the ground and your legs are straight up. Allow yourself to just drop into this. Close your eyes. The longer you keep your legs here, the more lactic acid will be released. So see if you can stay with it for a few more. To get out of this, bend your legs in half. Start to lower your feet to the floor. Lift the tailbone up. If there is a block, remove it. Lower the tailbone down. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. Slide the legs out in front of you. Set yourself up for Shavasana, complete rest. So this is the best part. Just allow yourself to fall into the mat. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Take a loud breath out through your mouth. Let go of the ujjayi and just relax. Stay longer if you need more time. If you need to re-enter the world because someone's standing over you, telling you it's time to get up, take a deep breath in. Exhale loudly, hug your knees to your chest. Start to move yourself up to a nice seated position. And just feel the effects of this practice, however it worked out for you, right? Thank yourselves for the time that you took to just come to the mat and get grounded. Draw the hands to prayer. Bow your head. Have some gratitude for yourself. Lift your head. We open the eyes. Namaste. Thanks for joining me.